We're rolling.
Hi everyone, I'm Laura.
I'm Steph.
And welcome in the Sister Circle podcast.
Welcome.
The circle where as women we share,
Learn,
grow,
heal,
and thrive.
Hi everybody and welcome to episode 2 of the Women and Anxiety. I would like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the Guyamago land of the Eora Nation on which we are recording today. I would like to pay my respects to the elders past, present and emerging. Thank you, elders. Thank you for this beautiful land that we are recording today. Hi, Laura.
Hello, how are you? Another week, another dollars.
Another week, another dollar, or several dollars, inshallah.
Hopefully, because at the moment the dollars are just leaving the wallet.
End of financial year.
Oh man.
Yes. How you going? How have you been this week?
I've been well. I'm super excited. I found an amazing contractor. Did I tell you that now I want to marry a tradie?
Amen to that. Welcome to the land of, men should know how to use a screwdriver and a hammer. I've been trying to tell you this.
No, that's fine. I think there's something really sexy.
Absolutely.
With a man that's come and be like, don't worry, Laura, I got this, and get everything's done in the house. Like, I can do things myself, but it's really sexy when the man is doing it for you.
Absolutely.
But it's a financial transaction. It's a financial transaction, so it's a bit,
in this incident.
Yeah, that's why I need to marry a tradie.
Exactly.
So I don't need to pay for it.
Exactly. You'd have beautiful homes and you would increase your value of your homes just because they can use their two hands. Come on.
Yeah.
Get into it.
But I'm excited. Honestly, I was a bit stressed because with me stopping working and then having to have all those expenses and I have to pay all strata fees, all those fees. And I'm just like, oh my God. And I just pay one bill and God gave it back to me.
Amen.
10,000 times.
Well, so let me put you guys into the tip. So yesterday, Laura had to pay for her first strata fee for her building. And she was like, oh, no, F my life. I can't believe I have to pay this bill. And I was like, no, Laura, you need to be excited about paying bills. Say to the universe, thank you so much that I have this money to be able to even pay. I want to bless this money to go out to whoever needs it. And I would have plenty more returned to me. 3 times more. And then what happened, Laura?
And then it came back small. I had a 20K rejection on some of my codes. So I'm really, really happy. And I found someone that I really trust. So let's see. I will keep you updated with the progress of my renovation. But I'm quite excited. So next time, it's just me and me and my brush and putting the paint while the guys are demolishing my bathroom.
Amazing.
How are you doing?
I am good this week. It's, I guess, Groundhog Day.
What do you mean?
The same. But I'm good. I'm blessed, black, and highly favored. Amen.
Amen to that.
Amen to that. All is well. That's all I can think. If I can't think about what's wrong, then everything has to be good, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We love that.
Yeah.
Well, this is the episode 2 of our series, Women and Anxiety. And before we begin, this is a gentle note for all of you, our listeners. In this episode, we will be discussing anxiety, emotional distress, or even coping mechanism. So there may be some reference to trauma, overwhelm, and mental health challenges. So if you're feeling vulnerable, triggered for anything that we just said today, please take care while listening. You can have a break, you can pause, you can leave the room if you need to, and come back if you want to when you're in a more grounded space. So take care of your mental health. Your well-being matters.
And also, just before we start, I would like to ask everybody, which we must be the only podcast in the world who don't do this. Can you guys like and comment and share with your friends? And dang, we have so much fun doing this, and we want to keep doing this. So far, we're really motivated, and we really want to stay motivated. Yeah, so we want you guys to just really show us how much you enjoy. So if you can join in the conversation by commenting something, like and rate us on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts, iTunes, iHeart. 5 stars only, please. Thank you.
At the moment, that's what people are doing.
Good.
So.
Yeah.
Good. Okay, so last week we started, which is like one of my favorite series so far, to be honest. We started talking about women and anxiety. We just went through the foundational basis. So if you're just joining and it's your first time listening to one of our episode, I will suggest you to listen to the first episode. That was the intro. It was really great. We talked about definition of
anxiety, we different types of anxiety that I found mainly in women, and we did dive into some of our own symptoms of anxiety that shows up for us. Yes, it was a really great conversation. We really did enjoy it. And we did offer some emotional regulation grounding exercises towards the end. So really tune in. It's a great conversation, and let us know what you think.
Yeah, and I think like what we left off with the conversation, like after going to we understand what are the different coping mechanism with anxiety, and then like the importance of being able to be self-aware of our anxiety.
Absolutely.
And to name it. So then like now like the natural question that will come is, okay, how do we actually acknowledge that there is anxiety? How do we recognize that we're going through this emotional stress?
It can come up. I do some somatic therapy. I practice some somatic therapy with my clients as well, but sometimes that can also be very far-fetched. Some people are not even aware that they have a body. A symptom of anxiety might not appear to somebody in their physical. Like for me, where I would normally feel it now is in my solar plexus. I would feel like the bubbly, anxious, not excitement, anxious. The first time I recognized anxiety, I was having heart palpitation that was happening where I thought I couldn't breathe. A few times I've had I felt my throat closing up. I had a massive panic attack in New York, and I surrendered that I was going to die. I actually thought I wasn't going to survive that episode. But then once the door opened, I could see outside. I was able to regulate myself, and I couldn't even remember to breathe. It was really intense. It was really terrible. It was really bad. But if you can't feel the physical response, it could be one thing where you're noticing I'm not able to concentrate, you're fidgety, you're feeling you're restless. Restlessness could be one of them. Or maybe sweaty, you might be too hot when it's not really hot. Yeah, so little things like that might be signs when you're really present with yourself. And sometimes that could feel quite scary for some people to be alert. I had a friend who used to say, I'm too alert. I'm too, it's almost like if I'm this alert, then maybe something bad is about to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's how I feel like when sometimes anxiety kicked in for me. And I will add on top of the symptom that you mentioned, I would say your heart is
pounding,
like racing.
That's real panic attack. Yeah.
Yeah. My chest is really tight.
Yeah.
Like I can feel it. Generally it's when this happen when I'm at work. Like the chest tightening. Oh my God.
Yeah.
And then also the shallow breath as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think what's really important, mostly because there could be so many other symptoms as well that
there's so many. It just really just the self-awareness is really about recognizing that I am dysregulated.
Yes, I'm in survival mode.
Yeah, I am dysregulating, and don't underestimate. It's better to think, to even ask yourself, am I dysregulated? So then you can at least check to see if this is dysregulation, or is this really, am I really cold, or am I really hot, or am I really
do you
hungry?
do this self-assessment? Am I dysregulated?
Because
Or do you go to the next phase that you're like, actually, yeah, I am? Because
okay, so if you ask that question, am I, like, it was easy when I first realized that I was having a panic attack. Just the very acknowledgement that I was having a panic attack reduced the intensity of it a little bit. And I knew I wasn't going to die. That's what I have to say to myself. I'm not dying. Nothing is happening. Whatever happens, sometimes you think, well, something is happening. Okay, whatever happens, I would figure it out.
Yeah.
And that would help because if there is nothing you can do about it, then whatever happens, I would be okay. And how do I know that? Because I've always been okay.
Yeah. My therapist used to tell me, you can't always think your way out of anxiety, but you can think your way through
it. Yes, exactly. So you don't have to have a solution. I guess that's what she means. You don't have to have a solution in the moment. You have to understand that I've had this before. I've had this feeling before. This isn't a new feeling. This isn't a new experience. I've had it before, and I'm still here. So I would figure it out. I don't have to figure it out now.
And something that was also really good is that it's just a moment of time, and it can seem like, okay, I'm so overwhelmed.
Yeah.
But it's just a moment of time.
Exactly.
Like it's gonna pass. At least the moment where your body is like dysregulated, it's gonna pass. It's not gonna last for like few hours.
Exactly.
And then after, at some point, then you're gonna be able to try to process it as well.
Another thing that I do is even if it is the tiniest amount of anxiety or a stomach fluttering or something, and I know why that might be. Last time I felt like this when I was doing my master's, and my master's was just, I could finish an entire essay and still think I'm going to fail that essay. And then I get a high distinction. And I just thought, this is torture. This is torture. I'm not studying for a year. I'm not doing this again, ever. Because that's how it overwhelms you. You can just surrender to whatever happens, I would be okay.
Yeah.
And that helps to regulate you. Because especially when you build a relationship with yourself where you can trust yourself, or you can trust what's happened before hasn't really destroyed me, I guess.
Yeah. And it just made me think, like everything that you just said just made me think about a time where actually it was not just a 5 or 10 minutes anxiety attack. Like when I'm actually really, really anxious, my period stopped.
Wow, yeah. So you know that as a sign.
Yeah, so I'm quite well regulated. I have it's been 20 years that I'm having my period, and I've been following that through the calendar. So it's been really regular.
Yeah.
But sometimes I'm just like, oh, I don't understand. Like I don't have my period, and then I know I have to look introspectively and try to understand. Okay, what's happening?
What's happening?
And generally, there is a reason.
So, what do you think about that when your period stops? What do you think about that? That anxiety causes you to have a stop in your cycle?
Yeah. To be fair, it's because and that's what I was saying last week around the fact that we internalize. Sometimes I'm so stressed that I'm not gonna communicate about it, and then I think this used to happen before I did a lot of therapy work. It's still happening now, especially when we had the news from my dad. That came back. But I have to admit less. But when I don't talk about it, I just want to carry on and not try to process it. My body is just gonna remind me that, hey, your brain can just keep racing. But
and do you talk about it with yourself?
Yeah, and that's when I'm like, okay, when I have my period, it means that it's a point where it's really bad. And I'm like, okay, whatever, I have to sit it through. what's happening with me.
And
then I go
that's
to
a conversation with yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
Also, you're saying that you don't even talk about it with yourself when something comes up.
Yeah, sometimes. Like,
Yeah.
for example, like when we learn. So my dad is quite sick. He's actually in end of life. And we learned that 2 years ago, almost. When that happened, I knew that, but like I had to like put my big pants on. I was in like a reaction mode. Let's have a chemo. Let's have radiotherapy. Let's organize his house. Let's organize everything. So I didn't have time to like go and sit and go through my emotion. I needed to be functional for my family.
Yeah.
And then I saw like for a month and a half I didn't have my period. I knew that was that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I didn't have the time, or maybe I didn't even want to go through talking with myself.
Yeah. So not wanting to, that's an interesting one. And is that, and because that is almost like that also feeds into the anxiety. That becomes that's an anxiety that feeds more anxiety. Yeah.
that's completely true.
Yeah.
If we carry on with what you just said, so like we recognize things in our body, we name it. What are the things that we can do? At least, like to work on the tightness of the breast, work on the heart racing, the breath that is being shallow, or the hands, like all those kind of things.
Yeah, so part of the cognitive behavior therapy is to be able to change the negative. So also identify what are the possible thoughts that's going through. So the thoughts that might be going through your head might not be about what you're anxious about. It could just be about the actual anxiety. Like, I'm going to die, I'm scared, I don't know what's happening, I don't know where I am, I'm going to fall, whatever the thoughts are. And how do I change that? How do I regulate myself down, calm myself down, speak to yourself even as a third person, to recognize that you are Laura, Steph, you are dysregulated right now. It's just anxiety. You're dysregulated. You're going to be fine. You don't have to go into the ins and outs of what, because sometimes you don't know. Sometimes it's so embedded, it's so unconscious that you don't actually know what has triggered you. But just to acknowledge that I am having an anxiety attack, or I'm having a panic attack, and I'm going to be fine. This is a panic attack. I am not dying. To be able to distinguish that helps with that, because when I had the closure of the throat, I was convinced, because now I can't breathe. Now I can't even go to a part of my brain that knows how to naturally breathe. I didn't know how to do that. But I was also trying to manage it a bit too much as well at the time, and in a packed train full of people. But I also didn't want to act it out, because nobody on the train knew I was having a panic attack. And I just surrendered, and I just sat down, and I couldn't even tell myself I wasn't dying, because I didn't know that at the time. I just sat down, and the door opened, and I saw outside, and my throat opened up. I completely calmed down.
So did you at least leave the room to
I was on a train going on my way to Brooklyn, from Harlem to Brooklyn, which is a long time.
Yeah, you're going from the south to the north. But like do you need to isolate yourself? Like I think like we use the emotional regulating exercise last week. That was really good. The grounding exercise.
Yeah.
Some of those techniques as well. I believe we can use it.
Yeah.
Just in the matter of like being able to like manage what's happening at the moment
and bring yourself to the thing about the grounding exercise I did last week was it brings you into the present. So your mind is not speculating a future that is catastrophic or any shame or anything of the past. Your mind is just in the present moment. And then that question that you ask yourself, what is actually wrong now? right in this second, even if it is a selfish thing, what is wrong with me now? You bring it back to you. Because your body's having an attack, experiencing an attack, thinking that something is happening to me. Even if it's something that's happening to your mother, your father, your siblings, but your body now is experiencing an attack, thinking something is happening to me. So before you can go to your mother, your father, your brother and sister, am I okay? What is happening with me right now? Nothing in the here and now, nothing is wrong with me. So that's the detachment of everything. If it's, oh my God, my house is burning down, nothing is happening with me here and now. I am fine.
And if it's not the case, self-protect. But this is another...
Yeah. I mean, if it's not a case, what do you mean? Like what?
Because, like you could be actually in a situation where you cannot... Just imagine you have a panic attack in the middle of a bank robbery and you're in the middle of the bank.
Yeah.
Like, I know it's
But for
conceptual.
every moment, you need to check with you. Like in every moment, because you could be in the middle of a bank robbery, but nothing's actually happened to you. You're just in the sticky situation. Like, what is happening? Peter Levine, who is a body psychotherapist, somatic psychotherapy, amazing psychotherapist, talks about when he was in an accident, in a I think it was a motor vehicle accident or something, and he was hit or something on the floor. His heart did not go up like what a normal trauma patient would go up, and the paramedic was very surprised at it because he knew how to regulate himself, and because he works with this all the time and he knows how the body just gets dysregulated, is really becoming aware of that. But what he also knew is that it's still not a small incident that's happening. So there was a lady there that came to try and help him, and she said, what can I do? And she said, just stay with me, because he needed that. That's all he needed. Just stay with me. Just hold my hand, or just be here. Somebody just needs to be here. So it's just knowing those little things.
And I think this is a really good point, because at least as a short term, those are really good strategy. For example, for my emotional eating, when I sometimes it comes not by the thought, but just by the I want to eat something sweet.
Yeah.
That happens all the time.
Yeah.
When I'm like at work especially, and I'm like, oh my God, I need to go downstairs, go buy something. It's good because the time that I take the lift, that I go down, I'm not gonna buy the sweet thing.
And if you pay, do you know what I used to do? I used to walk up and down the aisle, check my stomach. Like, obviously I eat junk food and everything, but when it was about that, I'll walk down the chip aisle and I'll check, and sometimes my stomach's like, girl, we cannot put this in. I mean, no way. I'm just walking by. I'm not saying no to myself. I'm just, because that's when it becomes that control thing again. I'm not saying no. I'm saying, let's just check with the body.
Exactly.
Let's just check with the body. What do I feel like? Let's check with the stomach. Let's check with the throat, and I start to taste that sodium, and it's just not the right time for the body. Yeah.
And that's exactly what I do. And then when I'm not at the office and I'm working from home, like, okay, I'm gonna have a tea. I'm gonna go for a walk. Sometimes, like, if I'm really panicky, like I don't really find myself in those type of situation, but I've seen some of my friends going through that, and we will do box breathing together. Like we will be doing those type of things just to try to get some regulation, or we do the grounding exercise that you talked about last week, where with the 5 things that you see, 4 things that you hear, and things like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad you mentioned box breathing, because being aware of your breath as well is really important. And if you feel the shortness of breath, even though I said when I had mine, I've forgotten to breathe, but if you have to force the breath sometime, and just to breathe out forcefully with the box breathing, holding it, so that way you have some type of control. You hold it, and then you breathe, and you hold it for 4 seconds, 8 seconds, you breathe. You breathe out for 4. Yeah.
So those are really like, those are really like short-term type of action that you can do. But
Yeah.
obviously, and it's good. It's gonna help you to like manage the situation at the time
Because
T.
sometimes that's all you need. Because when the brain catastrophizes, it can bring all kinds of scenarios of why we are not okay and we should run and we're gonna die like that. Like it's really, and then all you need, they seem simple, but they're not that simple. Because obviously, once you're able to self-regulate, then you can actually take proper measures of how do I really deal with.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
And so then, what are those proper measures?
It depends on your situation. Yeah, like you said, like for you, it's okay. I know why that's happening. I haven't dealt with
okay.
my dad's thing. We need to have a conversation. Can I have this conversation by myself? Like, am I scared? Do I need someone to hold space for me? Do I need someone to co-regulate with me if I spill my guts out right now? Just having that emotional intelligence and emotional awareness to be able to know, what can I handle? Like you're checking in with yourself. What can I handle right now? Do I need someone with me? What's the best way for me to do it? Is it journaling? Is it talking? Yeah.
So I found like this is also something that I put in place with my therapist, is that we like water is my thing. It's my element. First of all, I'm a Cancer. This is gonna be soon my birthday. But also I love being in water. Water calm me. I need water. Drinking water makes me good, but also like just like floating in water makes me really good. And there is these facilities in the northern beaches in here that's called rigs that I love to go, because there is a sauna, there is a steam room, there is an ice bath, and there is a hot bath. And like personally, being in the ice bath, just it makes me breathe, it makes me meditate. I'm more grounded, weirdly enough, even if I'm in the water. And I like when like I have like moments, especially at work, when like work is kind of busy, stressful. I know that once or twice or even 3 times a week, it's just gonna help me to regulate myself. So, but like obviously that's my thing, you know, and like also like I know like sometimes like surfing, like just being on the board, doing things, being next to the water or going in the beach, it's just calm me down.
Yeah.
For some of us, it's gonna be like go for a walk, you know. But I think what was really important is like, as you said, you know, like being able to like use this strategy to then like not trying to like forget about what's happening, but just like, okay, be in the moment and then try to process it.
If things like sports or physical exercise, movement, if that is properly incorporated in and integrated with dealing with your anxiety, right? Not needing words or anything like that, but being really present in that moment and feeling your body. My thing is yoga or walking. Because with yoga, I'm able to feel different parts of my body where I might be holding emotion, right?
Yeah.
Or like where it's stuck. And sometimes the body's like, no, we're not going too far over there. We're not going to. And just having that really good connection and relationship with the body, like respectful relationship with the body. And the abuse of that is like, okay, I'm using my body to be able to deal with my anxiety, but I don't care what the body feels as long as I don't feel this thing. So if the body's injured, you're not paying attention to that. That is not a good mind, body, spirit connection. That is not equilibrium. That does not create equilibrium within your system, and it's very expensive to sacrifice one over another. Whether it's sacrificing your mind, or you're sacrificing your body or your spirit, like it would be very expensive. All three needs each other to function properly. So it's better to pay attention to the body. If the body says that we can't go there today, then we can't go there, that particular place today. Being that respectful of the body. And another thing, not just walking, but everything you do, even when you are drinking water, you're feeling every single taste. Like, I'm here. I am right here. Nothing is happening to me, because the mind, it's so clever that it could make you think that you are actually in that past or in that horrible future that you're imagining. And that's why it's so important to be able to bring yourself here, in the here and now.
Okay, so if I summarize everything that you said, anxiety kick in, the tool that we want to use, like grounding techniques, to be able to like be back in the present moment, naming things, breathing, physical movements such as go for a walking or like touching water,
Touching, even sitting back on the chair and feeling the chair. Like just sitting back, and you can feel how your back, sometimes when you're anxious and your back don't even want to relax back, like when let me just feel back, and grounding your feet on the ground. Sometimes you feel like your feet want to just lift up because we're too used to wanting to do something about it. When your body and it's heavy, the body carry. When I think about myself, when I started doing some of this work with myself, past the age of 30, so by the time I was 36, oh my God, I was thinking, oh my God, I've carried all this for 36 years in my whole body is exhausted. Like, no wonder I've stopped growing. Jesus. Like, I've just compressed everything in. Because everybody in my family wonders, why are you so short? Like, why are you so short? Like, everybody else is so tall. So, but my paternal grandmother is short. So,
yeah, I think there's a nice quote that said like your body is not the enemy of your healing.
Exactly.
Like it's just a compass, right?
Yeah, your body's not the enemy of your healing, and don't treat it that way. And although sometimes, because everything is felt in the body, you think is the enemy of the healing, because your body's giving you intrusive thoughts. Your body's giving you that stomach, the ulcer. The stomach ulcer. The body is giving you the migraines. The body is, and you're just like, I want a new body. Like, I just want to leave this body. But they are just
giving you information.
Messages. It's just the messenger.
Yeah. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, fair enough. So grounding technique, you also talk about the mantra, and all of that, is it part of cognitive behavior therapy?
Cognitive behavior therapy mainly focuses on the negative thought and changing it.
Okay.
So yeah, it's changing your negative thought and giving it a new narrative and applying it.
Yeah.
There's
Susan, is that mantra? Like I'm trying to be practical around that.
Not necessarily just mantra. It's also about checking for yourself if this is true. There's this lady called Byron Casey, her name is, older lady. She's not a therapist per se, but she has inquiries where she asks about every thought that comes into your head, and is it true? Is this really true? And where are the evidence? Is it true? And if I didn't think like this, what would I be doing? Or how would my life be doing? It's really good. She's got some of her work.
But like, isn't it like, I see this, and we have a technique at work that is kind of similar, but like for other reason, to find the roots of a cause when there's an issue coming in. But I'm just wondering, sometimes when we use those type of question, like we can delve into things. Is it true? Oh, okay. Like what you think is true, and then like where do you feel it? Oh, yes. And then we start replying, and then having such a conversation. And
yeah, it goes in, and but still it would bring you. But I don't know if we can use an example right now, but you can go into it, and go into it, because it's not that you should avoid going into it, because your subconscious mind has already gone through it. Do you know what I mean? Like the more you unpeel the onion, you'll find there's nothing there. Like if you have to do it, then maybe just so that you don't become really neurotic and waste all this time having an anxiety attack, allocate a time for it. Maybe allocate a time for us to really delve into this. Well, how about we do it on a Monday afternoon, or like allocate a time to it so you know when to do it, rather than the mind just bringing it out of you out of nowhere in the middle of the street, and then you're having a panic attack. But if you say that I'm going to deal with it at this particular time, respect that too, and ask your mind to respect that boundary too.
And so then those type of routine or techniques that you put in place, is it something that you learn with a therapist, or?
You can learn from therapy, but even with therapy, when especially dealing with something that impacts people a lot, like anxiety, definitely trying to find other protective factors. And that is your faith, even you doing more work on your own, like reading about anxiety, listening to people, going into group work, group therapy, if there is that. Meditation is a great way to help to regulate yourself, to really calm the mind and change the brain. Cognitive behavior therapy is changing the brain. You got this really strong neural pathways, belief system, then it needs changing, because that is what's creating anxiety. That's what's creating chaos.
I think it's interesting that the first thing that you say was faith, and I could relate to that. So lately I just had a conversation with one of my friends. A dad is actually having a big surgery, and she's been really anxious about that. And she was asking me, like, you've been through it, like, I'm really anxious. There is a common things between us too, is that we come from like really religious family, and something where I found a bit of peace, I have to admit, is in praying. I don't see myself as someone really religious. I was born and I grew up being really religious, but like I don't feel like it anymore. But those last 18 months, like praying has given me a lot of peace. And like I needed to pray. So it's interesting what you say about faith, because like I can relate.
Yeah, I mean, there are
that.
some research out there that shows that people who have who practice faith have better coping mechanism than
Really?
than people who don't have. Not to say, and I don't want it to be misconstrued that people who practice faith, they don't go through anxiety or depression or anything like that, because trust me, faith doesn't take it away, but it definitely for sure gives you a better cope, because it's hope that something is going to change. You know, something that or hope that you're gonna be okay. Yeah. Regardless of what happens, you're going to be fine.
Okay.
And faith also offers, which is a really great mindset to have. Maybe this is happening for a bigger reason than I can comprehend. And sometimes we do find that if you've lost a job, if you lost your home, if you've lost your relationship, as painful as it could be,
it's easier to put this reason behind, because it's
not.
not.
But even if you didn't at the time, you soon do realize that, oh my God, this happened for a really good reason.
True.
Yeah, yeah. Thank God that it happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For the one that are struggling, then so hang in there, like you know.
Hang in and trust the process. Like to just trust the process. Generally, if you have a faith, you don't believe that you're not being harmed here.
Okay, and let's go back. So, like on those preventative strategy that you talked about, meditation, journaling, faith. What do you think about friendship, or like people, like, you know, that's not a therapist, but a family member?
So they're all part of your protective factors.
Okay.
So if you're part of a community, if you have family members, that people that can support you, obviously with limitations, because people, especially if they're not trained profession, it's difficult for people to support you in a way. Don't just rely on those. The more support system that you have, even your pets, people have their emotional support, dogs and things like that. People, the more that you have, because it opens up hope. I have so many different resources that I can go to, I can use. Like if it's exercise, if it's all of these different things. So the more you have, the safer you feel, essentially, in the world.
Yeah, absolutely. You talked about boundaries earlier.
Yeah, boundaries.
Like as a and I don't want to dwell on it because we are going to have a whole series about boundaries coming up in.
So boundaries
soon.
are a very difficult one to implement, but I would always say that even from not just from a professional standpoint, from a personal boundaries, I've always found that it had to start from me. Check if you have boundaries with yourself.
Yeah.
Like with your own body, with your own space. Like what do you overshare? When I became really self-aware and I'll get the urge to share my childhood sexual abuse situation, I would hear my inner child go, that ain't your story.
What do you mean?
Like you don't have to share it here. I don't want this to be shared over here. Like even though some people, it's one of those grey spaces where people feel like, I need to talk about it to release it. So yes, but where do you talk about it? Is the place that you share what you're sharing, is that gonna give you more anxiety because you've just exposed almost yourself, right? So checking in, like, is it okay? Am I okay to share this? Because you might feel a bit like, teary, or you might feel a bit shortness of breath, like when you're about to speak. Really check in with yourself to see, like, yeah, no, maybe not here. And that's not the same as shame. It just means it's not appropriate.
Yeah. And I think like it's all about making a decision to honor yourself, your
and where you feel,
mental state, your nervous system, everything,
and how you feel in every given situation. In every given situation, even if you get an instinct about something, and you don't just say, no, you go, I hear you, but are we sure? But when you completely ignore it, again, that creates the imbalance between your internal system.
So when we are in this like preventative self-care, just to like prevent anxiety, like boundaries are required. Is that the right place to share? Is that like do I have the right social boundaries? I don't know if we can have this term.
Social boundaries, even if it's your therapist sometime.
Oh, okay. This is new.
I would say that, yeah. Even if it's your
boundaries
therapist.
with your therapist?
Of course, because you don't know that if you need to check if they're also in an emotional space to hold your story.
But she should, otherwise they don't honor the appointment.
Because sometimes it depends on where they are on that day, in that moment. Are they too tired?
Like, it's almost like you're telling me, like, oh, you need to check if your surgeon is ready to do an operation on you.
You bloody do.
No, like,
because you can't take that back.
Yeah, but that shouldn't be your responsibility. And then if the surgeon
it shouldn't be. But if you, like, I would say this. There is this thing called, I think Stephen Podgy's, the vagal nerve guy, Stephen Podgy, who talks about how your body is picking up everything. So if you just told your therapist something and they're not able to hold that in that moment, it doesn't mean that they can't do it any other time. That would cause you a lot more distress.
And I hope that at these times the therapist is able to say, well, like maybe let's talk about it next time or something like that.
Yeah.
Because,
or even if they just didn't really listen properly. Yeah,
wow.
would that happen?
it's $190 an hour. So I'm expecting your full attention.
I mean,
didn't listen properly, and what?
They didn't listen properly because maybe they saw 10 people that day. Some
Yeah,
therapists don't have that. Some therapists don't have that boundaries with themselves, right? Where you give yourself a limit. I won't do more than, I've done 4 a day, but I try not to do 4 a day because I know that if everybody is heavy session, I'm exhausted. Like sometimes you're falling asleep because your body's resisting hearing this stuff. And especially if you don't know, I mean, every therapist who's been properly trained would be told that, how do you take care of yourself when you're listening to somebody's story? Right. And it's the same with us as well, with friends.
How do we manage when we are triggered, when something that they say
Exactly. How do I check with myself how do I take care of myself when I'm listening to somebody?
Yeah. Okay. So I think that was really great. I'm trying to summarize just to make sure that I'm following through. We understand what's happening in our body. We make sure that we use our body as a compass. And then we use grounding technique, such as breath work, touching, movement, naming, using some mantras, saying what we feel, we see, we hear, walking, journaling, even touching hugging trees.
Even hugging trees. Yes, nature is the best way to go. Yeah.
Make sure that we understand what our strategy, what are the best strategy for us, and then we identify the different one that we could have within our resource system. Either it can be faith, family, therapy, journaling, meditation, define our routine. So then it's really easy to just put that in place when things kicked in. And then leveraging that, and then make sure that we set up the right boundaries. Sometimes when it happens with a therapist, not or with family or other people, not sharing what we want. But I think there is also being able to put in place those emotional boundaries, saying no, on a daily basis or on a regular basis. It's going to help us to just protect our space as well.
Exactly.
Physical boundaries as well.
Physical boundaries, emotional boundaries.
Close to those people because,
Yeah, and sometimes it could be somebody wants to hug you. No, I can't.
Exactly. Exactly, because I don't feel like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. Yes, and then when do you know that you need to maybe go to the bit more heaviest type of solution, which is therapist or...
Well, when you think you've exhausted your resources.
Got it. And your routine doesn't work. Family and friends, it's not enough.
You've come to a point where you do need to dive into something and you need to do it safely. Like you said, when you think about your dad now we need to start talking about this. People avoid therapists because, don't tell me I fancied my dad when I was 6 years old. And you know what? Maybe if you don't want to do psychoanalysis, you don't have to go into psychoanalysis where you dig up the past. Some therapists, some psychodynamic therapists or even personal-centered therapy, Carl Rogers talks about dealing with what is now. We might visit the past if it's necessary, but what is actually wrong, what's presenting right now. If we need to go into some part of the past, yes, but we're not going to dwell in that because we're focusing on what is actually coming up and impacting your life in the right and now.
I think that's a really good point. I have a friend that is really, really anxious, at a point that is, she's kind of good now. It has been at a point where it was really, really disabling for her. A comment that I say, really uneducated, but just based on my guess, was that, well, I think you need another form of therapy. She was going to a lot of going to her past, understanding where was some of the scheme, and I think she arrived at the point where there was we couldn't see forward. She learned a lot of things. Okay, what's next to be able to get better?
Yeah.
And I think just going with someone that is gonna do maybe something is more present or something more mechanical, hypnose or whatever, something a bit different, just to help for the work. It can help, and it's good to be able to assess that.
Yeah, to be able to know that maybe I'm being re-traumatized over there. Like, maybe I'm stuck over there. Maybe I need to be here. What is not, like, how am I being impacted in the here and now? Yeah.
That's good. That's good. And what would you say another thing that comes a lot when we talk about therapies is, how do you choose that? How do you choose the right therapist?
Well, sometimes it depends. If you've done a lot of therapy and you think maybe I might want to try this, I might want to try that, it's easier to choose the modality that you want. But in terms of therapy, you don't really know. You just have to build rapport and see. Go 1 or 2 sessions to see how you are, and then move on to the. Just feel free. There's so many people who feel guilty, who feel all of this stuff. No, that's the same thing I was talking about. This boundary has to start with you. Am I getting what I need from this? No.
Yeah, got it.
And even if the therapy, they're not supposed to, but as human beings, people get in their feelings. Even if the therapy is in their feelings, it's still up to you. You are priority because it's your healing.
Yeah, that's deep. I love that.
Yeah. I think just to close, we might do maybe something different. I think I was thinking about maybe we do like a short meditation. If you would like to join us, because it's always up to you if you want to participate in the grounded exercises that we offer. So if you'd like to close your eyes, just focus your attention on your breath. Don't regulate your breath or anything. Just notice what is your natural breath at the moment. Just make a note of it. What do you notice? Is it fast? Is it shallow? Is it just normal rate? Just notice your breath. Now bring your attention to your scalp. Any sensation that naturally appear, any sensation, if you scan your entire scalp, anything that comes up, just notice. And as soon as you feel anything at all, move down to your forehead. Again, anything that naturally comes up, any sensation, tingling, heat, cold, as soon as you feel it, just make a note and move down to your eyelids. Move down to the bridge of your nose. Anything you feel, and move your attention to your nostrils. Just notice. Now, if you want to put your attention to your cheeks, both cheeks, any natural sensation that occurs. Now move your attention to the area between your nostrils and your upper lip. Just focus your attention in that area. Anything that naturally comes up, any sensation at all, move it along to your lips. And before you move down, let's just go back to your ears. Feel both ears. Anything that you feel. Things that might be on your ear, could be your hair, could be headphones, earbuds, your earlobes, if you feel your earring, anything in that ear area. Now move your attention back to your chin. Just scan the area. down to your neck area, the back of your neck, the front of your neck, anything that naturally comes up. Just feel it. And as soon as you feel it, just let it go and move on. Move on to your chest area. Scan your entire chest area and notice if your mind wants to move away from scanning your body. Just gently move it back to that area of your chest with no judgment. Just gently move your mind back. Scan your stomach area. Look for any sensation. It could be feeling the sensation against your clothes, or it could be an itch, it could be hot, it could be cold, it could be pain, anything you feel. Now move your attention to your upper back. And from your upper back, carefully scan all the way down to your lower back, searching for any sensation. Don't hold on to the sensation. Don't judge the sensation. Just notice whatever naturally comes up. And let it go. And move your attention to your arms. Scan your entire arms. Start with your right arm. All the way down. Just look for any sensation in your left arm. From the top arm to your forearm. Anything that you feel, and let it go. Now take your attention to your hands. And just acknowledge if your mind is getting bored or agitated, just keep note of that and gently, without judgment, and bring your attention back to the part of your body. Now scan the palm of your hand and the outer side of your hand for any sensation from your palm to your fingertips. Just be aware. Just become aware of the sensation of this particular part of your body. Now you can move your attention to your hip area. Just notice whatever naturally comes there. Don't judge any thoughts that comes into your head. Just notice. Now bring your attention to your top thigh, inside your thigh, the back of your thighs, on both legs. Notice what you naturally feel in this area of your body. And as soon as you feel something, keep scanning down to your knees. And keep scanning all the way down to your calf muscles, both legs. And move your attention all the way down to your feet. Whatever naturally comes up, just take a note of it. to the top of your feet, in between your toes, to the bottom of your feet. Just notice, and notice whatever thoughts that's coming up. Just be the observer. And whenever you're ready, you can open your eyes. Yeah. That's a Vipassana meditation. Normally, you scan all the way from your head to your toes, and then you do from your feet all the way up back to your head again. The purpose of that meditation is for awareness, just to increase your awareness, and it's great for anxiety because once you do that, your mind really expands to where you pick up all of these tiny little body signals that your body gives you before an anxiety kicks in. It's really great for that. Try that. But as for now, we've come to the end of our circle. Thank you so much for listening and being part of this amazing conversation. If you have any questions that you would like our opinion on, please email us on the sistercirclepodcast@gmail.com. That's the sistercirclepodcast@gmail.com, or send us a DM. And again, do like and subscribe and comment and share with your friends if you think they would enjoy this conversation. Until then, you have a great week. Join us next week in our new circle. Have a great week.
Have a great week.